And welcome back into the Wheelhouse, your Elevation 5280 Sports and Lifestyle. Lot to get into this morning, but that lot is going to be everything. March Madness, NCAA tournament, men's and women's. Well, who's going to be the first number one seed to fall, if any? Did Kentucky screw your bracket? Did Wisconsin screw your bracket? Did Kansas screw your bracket? A lot of upsets so far. A lot of 11 seeds winning, some 12 seeds winning. So we'll get into everything on both sides. Again, men's and women's here. Once again, Elevation 5280 Sports and Lifestyle. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, all of the socials. And this and every podcast brought to you by Pikes Peak Sports Cards. Go check out their inventory online. Go check out their Facebook page. If you're local to Colorado, and then go down to Colorado Springs and check them out. They do a lot of live card shows and stuff like that. So make sure you go check them out. And I think they do shipping as well. So if you find that diamond in the rough, so to speak, you can have it shipped to you. Matt, how are you this morning?
I'm doing good. I would love to go. Do you know they got to have Pokemon cards, right? So I have a reason to take my kid.
I think almost every sports card shop does that.
I have noticed that because my kid and I have been going crazy going to card shops. So we got to make a trip down there. But I'm doing great. I'm excited to watch a full day of freaking basketball. I feel like I've watched so much basketball in the past 4 months that I am not full. Like I want more, and we got man. There's a lot of good games today, Mike. Lot of good games today.
So yeah, if you're wondering why I'm wearing CU stuff now and have Caitlin Clark's jersey hanging in the background, it is because I picked Iowa in 2 of my women's brackets to win the whole dang thing. I picked South Carolina in another one. So that's why. But, you got to support the local teams, Matt. I had CSU on last week. More, I guess, for St. Patrick's Day. They beat Virginia in that first round with stifling. How do you say that?
Stifling
defense, and then they go and barely score 11 points in the first half, in their first round matchup. So we'll get into all of it, and don't forget to head over to e5280sports.com and check out everything going on there. Go to the audio vault, video vault. All of the past podcasts are in there. Go check out YouTube. Obviously, all the stuff is in there. Go check out Spotify. All the audio versions are in there if you can't watch anything. So make sure you do all of those things. But these, like you said, man, this might be the most basketball I think I've ever consumed. So you are like the opposite of Aaron Donald. You're not full. You're not complete.
No.
And you gotta get more in.
Feed me more. If you're a professional wrestling fan, you get that little pun there. Yeah, I want more. And I mean, I've been watching this, and I know we've talked about this a little bit, how the women's game overall, we feel has been better than the men's game. Until we get into the March Madness situation, and then it like elevates. It gets higher, it gets up, and I wanted to ask you, Mike. You saw Oakland beat Kentucky, and that's kind of been like the biggest upset right now. I mean there might have been another one. There's a couple other ones, but I feel like that's the biggest upset right now. As far as one of those blue bloods, those teams that are always up there, and you don't anticipate a team like that to lose to Oakland. Now, and there was a lot of questions behind it, like why can Jay Wright said something too. He was on. I love Jay Wright, former Villanova coach. He said some things like, this is why you can't have the one and dones anymore. It's like days of those are done, because when you get into the tournament, you're going to run into a team that's been together for 4 years and is an actually basketball team. And you're seeing that all over. You're seeing these teams that are 16 seeds, 12 seeds, 13 seeds, that are smaller schools that don't have the one and dones, that stay together. And I think that's why the girls' game has been a lot better is because a lot of those teams stay together longer, as opposed to when you got the men's team, the men's side of things. There's too many ones and done. So, have you seen any of that so far?
It seems like, I mean, obviously, for example, Iowa on the women's side, Matt, three of their five starters have been together
Mm-hmm.
for 4 years, and minus a sophomore in Hannah Stolke who was in foul trouble a lot yesterday, so she did not really see much of the second half. But yeah, you're seeing a lot of those, Matt. You're seeing a lot of these teams. It's funny they call seniors veterans, but
Right.
they are, because
Right.
they've been there for. And then you have grad students like Kate Martin on Iowa as well, who she's a fifth-year senior.
Yep.
So you have those graduate students who they're taking advantage of the COVID year, Matt, because anyone who was playing during COVID year, you got the extra year of eligibility. So a lot of at least women's teams and players are taking advantage of that, Matt. But like you said, the one and done in men's are, you can kind of tell the non-teamness, the not much chemistry when you get to the tournament. Obviously, it's not noticed, during the regular season unless you're a fan of that team and watch them every day. But when you get to the tournament and it's on national TV, Matt, you can kind of tell like the bad passes. You're throwing to a spot and the guy's not there. So you see a lot of that on the men's side.
Yeah, it turns into to me ball, and these teams that do well in the tournament, they're we ball, and there's more of an emphasis on the we than the me. And yeah, you can get coaches like Calipari that can get those one and dones to play like a team for a season. He can do that, but like Jay Wright said, I just think that there's the days of doing that are slowly slipping away and going away. And I think that men's college basketball, there's so many options, and I think that the NBA is looking at changing the rule or doing something to do with making it so they can come out of college or come out of high school again and be drafted straight into the NBA like they used to be able to. So if they do that, then that would eliminate the college thing, and then maybe we could get back to filling these colleges with but with the NIL and all that stuff, who knows if that's going to change. You see that more in the women's or the men's game than you do the women's game, and I think that's why right now, not only because of a Caitlin Clark or Juju Watkins, Angel Reese and Malaysia Funwali, what they're doing on the court, but just as far as team basketball, it's just a better game in the women's in the regular season. But you get to the March Madness, and we get to see these teams, these tournament teams play, and tournaments, in my opinion, always bring out the best in teams. You can find out who's a good team, just put them in a tournament situation. And I think we're seeing that in a lot of cases right now. And it's fun. It's good to see. And that's why I remember, I get excited. But one thing, Mike, we were talking a little bit about this before we started the show. It is not good. What I've noticed, it is not good to have a game plan of watching the games, because I started watching the conference tournaments on the men's side. I've watched women's basketball all season long, but on the men's side, I've only watched CU really play, CU and CSU and a handful of other teams. But I watch conference championships to get ready to fill my brackets up, right? So I have some predisposed knowledge, and I know what's going on, so I can make some good decisions, right? That don't matter, Mike. That don't matter. I got to go to the secretary at the office that she always picks the best mascots.
Oh yeah, I've done a mascot versus mascot.
I got to go that route
before.
I got to go that route. How's your bracket doing so far?
Which one?
Oh, which one? Well, that's a good way to. Let's start there. How many brackets did you fill out?
So I have, and I do it old school, Matt. I print them out.
You go on the paper, yeah.
I print them out. They're all color coded. I don't know if you can see.
Yeah, I see them.
I had to go out and get new highlighter.
Hey, I respect the hell out of that, Mike.
Yeah, I'm old school.
I respect that.
So I did 5 men's and 3 women's, because I have Iowa in 2 and South Carolina in 1, which means Iowa will defeat the Lady CU Buffs at one point.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
CU,
Unfortunately. Yeah.
both CU men's and women's played today, by the way, if you're a Colorado fan. So that's exciting. I am proud of my James Madison pick over Wisconsin. I am proud of my Middle Tennessee pick. And there was another one that I was particularly proud of. I don't remember who it was. Yale kind of screwed me
Yeah.
by beating Auburn. Kansas didn't really do much. I had Kentucky make it to one Elite Eight, Matt. But besides that, I had them losing in the Sweet 16 and the rest of them. So 5 men's and 3 women's is what I did, Matt. How many do you got?
I did two men's and 2 women's, and in one men's I had Purdue winning, and then the other men's I had Connecticut winning. So I'm still looking good, but the one in the bracket that I filled out for our the E5280 bracket, that's the one I'm kind of focusing on, and like that's where it bit me in the butt. Like I had Mississippi State. I like the way that they play. I saw them play. I like the way they play. I felt like that they could make some noise, and they hosed me.
So in the E5280 bracket, that's I actually picked Arizona over Purdue in that one, and then
Okay.
I have UConn winning 2, and then I have Purdue winning 1 out of my, is that 5?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe that's 4. I don't know.
Yale beating Auburn kind of hosed me a little bit because I had Auburn going a little ways.
Sorry, the other upset I was actually proud of. I had Duquesne in 2 of my brackets. Yes.
Okay. See, I had a pretty good upset. Let's see if I can find it. I got to go through here. See, no, I didn't have that one.
I don't think, did anyone have, because the perfect brackets ended on what, Friday night?
Yeah, I don't think they lasted very long.
No, because Kentucky screwed everybody. By the way, that Oakland NC State game yesterday was pretty crazy. Oakland taking NC State to overtime.
I thought they were going to be like the Davidson or the who was that one season where we had just like 2 schools that were just going all the way.
St. John's, was that a
St. John's? Well,
that Cinderella story.
The team that Steph played for. He played for Davidson, didn't he?
That was Davidson, yeah.
Yeah.
Grand Canyon kind of screwed me on one side. But, for the most part, Matt, my Sweet 16s and Elite 8s are all intact. Kentucky kind of screwed up 2 of them, but if you had to pick, Matt, how many or who would be the first number 1 seed to fall?
If I would have to pick one, who would be the first one?
Just for people out there, the number 1 seeds are UConn, North Carolina, Purdue, and Houston.
See, I'm gonna say.
By the way, in pre-tournament start, Matt, Purdue had projected the easiest road to the Final Four.
And I have Purdue going. I have Purdue winning in one in our bracket, the E5280 bracket. But I'm gonna pick. See, I wanted to go with Houston. Just because you're gonna have a Duke Houston situation probably. I don't know if James Madison's gonna beat Duke, but you could have that potential situation. But immediately North Carolina jumped out to me because they're gonna play number 4 Alabama. That's a pretty good Alabama team.
Yeah.
So I was looking at those, but gosh, I don't know. I have a lot of faith in Purdue because of what happened to them last year. They're gonna I feel like their focus is more there. And Eddie, the way that guy's playing right now, and I mean, I think they could just lean on him, and there's really nobody like you said. It's the easiest path. Where's Michigan? Where'd Michigan end up?
I'm pulling up the standings in the E5280 bracket, Matt, and you're
I'm
you're
11.
down there, Matt. I'm in 5th place, so I'm happy about that. There's
You
5
are
people tied for first with 35 points. I got 34 points, Matt. You're way down here in 11th with
in
30 points.
and I'm tied in 11th. I'm tied, aren't I?
Yeah. I mean, I feel bad for the Profits because they are the only one who picked Kentucky to win the whole thing. Everyone else's championship is still intact, it looks like.
Yeah,
So
everybody's
that's
out. Nerdy buffoon, he's yeah. But there's
so
like a 10-way tie for 11th.
yeah, and then a 3-way tie for 25th. People who didn't bother to
People
fill
didn't
out.
even fill it out the they put their name at least, but
So there's a lot of people on here. A couple of Arizonas, couple Purdue's, North Carolina, UConn, Houston, Purdue, Tennessee. That's a pretty ballsy one, Matt. Can they get past Creighton, who they'll play in the Sweet 16? Can they get past Purdue and or Gonzaga?
see, I was just gonna say I think Creighton is a sneaky pick because I've been watching Creighton all
Guess
season.
what? I have Creighton getting past Tennessee in one.
There you go.
bracket.
That's a sneaky pick. I would like to go and see what how much money I can put on Creighton right now to get to the Final Four or Elite Eight or something like that.
Iowa State for the Minutemen tickets in first place there, Matt. That's a pretty ballsy pick to win the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Iowa State. By the way, I don't know if you saw the Iowa State women's game, Matt, and
Yep.
homegirl drop a 40 piece.
Yep. Audie.
Yeah,
Isn't that a great name?
yeah, Audie.
Audie. She
Straight
she
baller.
was tremendous. And it's not like the first time that she has dropped that many points. She did it in and I want to say it was like another school game that she's just not she's accustomed to dropping that many points. And that was a pretty competitive game. I picked Maryland in that game and they were up 20 points, weren't they? At one point.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I had Iowa State, so I was hoping that they would eventually pull it out. But I mean, I think I sent you a text, Matt. New boo alert on Maryland, by the way. Yeah.
Yep. She's and then we got to watch Stanford right after that.
Oh yeah.
Cameron Brink just do her thing out there. Got to watch Stanford. There's like I'm saying, there's a lot.
So I was watching. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was go ahead. I was just say there's a lot of women. There's just the women's game is really good right now, and it's good. It's fun to watch.
So I was watching USC and who did they play? California Baptist.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny how these 16 seeds come out, Matt, and they just give you all they have in like the first half, and then they start to kind of fade away in the second half. You know, you saw Holy Cross give Iowa all they had in that first half, Matt, and then just kind of tucker out, I guess, you know, late third and in the fourth quarter. And strangely enough, Iowa is the highest scoring team in the women's bracket, Matt. They average over 90 points a game, and they got to 91 yesterday. So, I mean, they struggled with the three to start, except for Gabby Marshall hit what she was like 3 or 4. You know, Caitlin finally got her shot going, and you know she almost 2 rebounds away from a triple double. So, you know, I think the key for Iowa in this tournament, Matt, is Hannah Sulky, Matt. She's got to stay out of foul trouble. She can be a force down low. She just I don't think she knows how to use her size and her strength yet. And I think she's the key for Iowa, Matt. But
yeah, because they're gonna run into the bigger teams like the South Carolinas, the LSUs, the Stanfords. You know, those are bigger teams down low, and Hannah's got to be, and because she has that, she can get into foul trouble. Especially if there's other size down there. There's a couple other girls. Lisa Boulder can run out there, but they don't give you the same things that Hannah does. So yeah, I agree that they're going to need her down the stretch, especially in those games when they run into when other teams like that, when they got those bigger girls down low and they can match. I'm not going to say Matt, I'm not going to say like stop what Caitlin can do, but because that's what you saw yesterday. There's a lot of teams that are going to go box and one that don't, maybe they don't have another player that they can match up with to Caitlin, so they'll go box and one. But you saw a lot of double teams. You'll see even triple teams in some cases. But when they start to play these teams that like a Colorado, when you can run Sherrard at her, you can run you can have Foreman coming off at her, you can have Von Lay, that's going to be a good matchup. I hope we get to see it. I mean, I know I'm putting the cart before the horse here, but I hope we get to see that a Von Lay and Hannah Stokey matchup down low with Colorado and Iowa. That'll be really fun.
And if LSU gets out of their mini side of that Albany
Right.
2 bracket, Matt, I mean, you're going to have to put a big body on Angel Reese. So you got to take some of these taller girls out of the picture. And if Hannah Stokey can figure out a way to use her size and strength, then this Iowa team is pretty dangerous. So, but you got LSU, kind of lurking in the background. They'll take on Middle Tennessee, and that was a crazy finish, Matt. Don't know if you saw Louisville. They heaved one way at the very end of that game. It wasn't really close, but it hit like the backboard, and I don't know, but that was another upset that I was proud of picking, Matt. I wanted to ask you this. A lot of these 16 seeds, especially watching that Iowa Holy Cross game, Holy Cross was in it, and then about 2.5 minutes left in that fourth quarter, they were down by, I think, like 16, 15 or 16. And then they just took all the starters out, like they're waving the white flag. And the seniors that were all 5 starters, by the way, for Holy Cross were all seniors too. And they just, they're just they all had smiles on their face, not pissed off. I mean, I guess a 2-part, maybe 3-part question here, Matt. Do you sometimes feel bad for these 16 seeds who get into this tournament? Because you're going to face a juggernaut. You're going to face an Iowa, South Carolina, sometimes a LSU, the Texases out there, the Stanfords out there. But a lot of these teams are just so happy to, get selected on Selection Sunday that they almost, I don't want to say don't care that they lost, but they were just happy to make it in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a lot of those teams, you look at their record and it's like, cause like there was a game I was watching and I even thought to myself, like, holy smokes, this team is, it was like 30-2. This team was 30-2 and they were a pretty good team, and they just they got this draw because of whatever division they play in, whatever schools, like they're a pretty good team, but then they get thrust in this position where they have to play, the number 1 seed and just a juggernaut in the first game of your bracket. So yeah, I see those situations and they're happy to be there. Like the first initial, if you can get your kids past that initial thought of just being happy to be there and get them to, okay, like Oakland, for example, when you saw them and I don't know if you saw that video of them in the locker room after the game, they weren't cheering, they weren't going crazy, they weren't being super excited. They were acting like they expected to win that game. And that's a different mindset. And you could see it yesterday when they played North Carolina State. They went into that game expecting to win that game. So you have teams like that they came there, that they know they're a good basketball team. They know they deserve to be there. They just upset Kentucky, and they're still rolling because of their attitude, their mindset. But then you can go to the team that they were talking about, and look at them as like they did their best. They know, like they live in reality. They're not going to make up some storybook ending or some storybook type of a game scenario, how they can win it, they're going to go out there. They're going to do what they can do best. They're going to put their best foot forward, put their best players in the best position to win. And then if they win, great. But if they lose, then yeah, you go into that situation where they're happy to be there. But I think some teams are just prepared differently, and some teams, are truly happy to be there. And then some teams are there, they think that they deserve to be there, and they're going to go make some noise, like Oakland.
Yeah, and Oakland, I mean, they obviously took care of Kentucky, screwed a lot of people's brackets up, and they took NC State to the brink, Matt. They took them to overtime, so that was, and that's probably why you saw that kind of emotions or emotionless team in the locker room afterwards, because they just took down Kentucky. If you take down 1, 2, or 3 seed, Matt, as a 14, 15, or 16, I mean, you're going to have all the confidence. You're going to have all of the momentum. You're going to have all of the confidence in the world that dude, bro, we just took down Kentucky. Of course we're going to beat NC State. Like, we got an 8-year senior who's like 30 years old, who's making 10 threes in a game. Like, that's crazy. So when you take down these juggernauts, so to speak, Matt, you're going to have all the confidence in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. And, and I kind of like, and I don't want to throw, poop on the parade or anything, but like, it was one thing I saw when I saw CU and the men's, and they were in their locker room, and Tad Boyle and those guys were celebrating and acting like, and that kind of got me thinking, like, hey, are you guys ready for the next one? Like, let's get ready for the next one. That was that was a back and forth basketball game, but the way that you came down the stretch, the way that you won that game, it was acting like you didn't want to win that game. You were trying not to lose it. And the reaction after the game, I was kind of like, you guys just got away with one, and you're acting like, you're acting like you did. You're acting like you did, because you're like, whew, they're happy and stuff like that. I would have been more focused. I would have had my team more focused. So that was something that I'm starting to, I don't know if I'm going to question what Tad's got going on there, but because of everything that he's done, and he's got this team to where it's at. But there's a couple things that I've watched these past couple games in the tournament that have kind of got me questioning, if the focus is truly there, and if there's gonna be at a moment that's gonna be something have to be put, or something that need to be said, and if Tad's gonna be the right person to say that, you know what I'm saying? Like, put him with that step foot forward. So we'll see.
Yeah, he was dancing. He was dancing, and he should not dance.
You saw what I saw,
Yeah.
right? He should not dance.
No,
You saw what I saw.
Should be dancing because this is the big dance. But,
Yeah,
I mean, KJ Simpson with that shot,
crazy
at the end
shot.
of the game. Yeah, I mean, that was the angle, the
It was almost behind the backboard. It looked like.
I was going to say the trajectory of what he had to go through to get that, not only to get that shot off, Matt, but somehow get some English on it to maneuver that ball and take down Florida as a number 10 seed. Obviously, Florida was a number 7 seed. So what do you think today, Matt? I mean, Marquette's coming in as the number 2 seed in that South bracket. Do we see another upset in their future? Talking to a lot of CU fans, by the way, Matt, saying, Tad Boyle's a good coach. He just can't win that big one. Just can't get them over the hump. And you said, maybe the one and dones, mixing, junior seniors in with freshmen and sophomore is tough because they don't have that chemistry. Sure, you practice a lot. You have summer camps. You have all this other stuff. But, live tournament, big situations, you just don't have that experience with a mixed class like that. We'll say, freshmen through seniors, and that's where the coaches have to come in, Matt, and kind of mesh them as much as he can. Like, hey, I know you're a senior, but this sophomore plays better with this freshman. You got to put the best players on the court. I'm not saying he doesn't, but I'm just saying that the inexperience in those one and dones, Matt, that's up to the coaches to see what mixes well.
Yep. And you got to see if they're prepared or not to be in that certain situation. Like you said, you got to put them in there. And today, you're gonna look across. You're gonna look. You're gonna look down the end line there, and you're gonna see Shaka Smart sitting over there. And he's one of my favorite coaches. Hands down, one of my favorite coaches.
And
Old VC.
one of the
Huh?
best coaching names as well.
Oh, isn't he? Isn't it a great name? And he's going to be out there coaching his ass off like he does every game. He's going to have those kids ready to go. They went through a pretty up and down game where they were up, and then they had to fight back. So they had to go through some adversity in their first game too. But you know he's going to have those guys prepared. Shaka Smarts likes to play with a lot of pressure. Ted Boyle really doesn't pressure the ball coming up the floor that much. He doesn't like to press a whole lot. You don't see that a lot. So from a Ted Boyle basketball team, but like you said, like if I'm looking at if coaches here in this who's going to have their guys more prepared, I'm kind of leaning towards Shaka Smart in this situation because just from what I've seen, and I just hope that Tad was able to go back and do some self scouting in that situation, and in that fourth quarter, coming down in that 5-6 minute range when they went to that ball control, kill clock defense or offense, I should say, and it almost killed him. It almost hurt him. There it was really they got lucky with Clayton. I mean, he was on fire. He was on absolute fire there, and they didn't want to score. So I hope he does that, some self scouting, and doesn't put that team in that position again. If he does have that, and he at least keeps the pedal down a little bit longer. So it's going to be a good game, man. I'm really looking forward to this game, and it's going to suck that because we got this game starting at 10 o'clock, right? That's what we decided, right? We decided to start at 10, and then we got the women's team kicking off at 11. That South Carolina game going, and then we got the the CU Buffs game going on at 12. And then Angel Reese plays at like 2. LSU and the Tigers play at 2 or something like that. So there's a lot of basketball, and I mean, I'm all stuttering here, Mike, because there's so much basketball going on. I just looked at the schedule again. There's I forgot about Ohio State, the women's bracket. Ohio State, they play at 10. So
yeah, that also the Battle of the Carolinas is going to be a good one, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the battle. I mean, there's so much good basketball on today that I like I was telling you, man, I'm gonna go get donuts after we're done here, and I'm making a lot of food today, so we're hardly not gonna go anywhere. We did all our stuff yesterday.
Yeah, I did not move yesterday at all either. So again, going back to the Elevation 5280 Sports and Lifestyle bracket, once again, the winner will win a copy of the new MLB 24, the show, for whatever platform that they would like, and or a Christian Brown Nuggets jersey. So winner gets to pick. Obviously, if you're not from Colorado, you might want the baseball game, or you might want a Christian Brown jersey. I don't know. Maybe you're a sad Kansas fan who loved Christian Brown when he was there, and the last team to win a national title. So maybe you want to soak up your tears in a Christian Brown jersey.
That would be I would love that Christian Brown jersey. I hope I win.
I don't know. You're kind of far down the rankings.
Hey. It's all about how you finish, Mike.
Yeah, it is. By the way, we didn't answer the question that we posed earlier, Matt. What, if any, which number 1 seed, men's or women's, do you predict is going to fall first? Again, in the men's tournament.
Give me North Carolina in the men's. I'm going to go with North Carolina. They're going to fall first to that. Alabama's going to beat them, North Carolina.
See, and I have in one bracket, I have North Carolina going to the Final Four, losing to UConn. I have them in the Elite Eight, losing to Arizona. In the another Elite Eight, Matt, I have them beating Baylor. Switching it up. Another Elite Eight, I have them losing to Arizona. So they're up there, Matt. I think a lot of people are looking at North Carolina. Are they the weakest number 1? Where do you rank Houston? Because in one bracket, Matt, I do have all number 1 seeds making it to the Final Four, just to switch it up. It almost never happens.
Yeah.
It almost never happens, but because in one bracket I have Houston beating Purdue in one Final Four, and UConn beating Houston in the national championship game. So because a lot of people saying Purdue are the weakest number one, even though they have the easiest, I guess, quote unquote, easiest path to the Final Four. But you are going to be facing a Gonzaga if you get past Utah State. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
You might have to face a Creighton or a Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going North Carolina as the first. I'm going to go with Purdue.
I mean, everybody's just been beating up Purdue. I just think that they got a chip on their shoulder.
They got Zach. Zach Edey?
Zach Eddy, they got
Yeah.
it. Like I'm saying, like I think that they're focused. They're gonna do it. Like this, they're not gonna mess around. That's why I'm really just looking at it like from what happened last year to them, and then coming into this year, I feel like they're focused. So they're the easiest one because that Utah State team's pretty good, man. That Mountain West Conference was pretty good this year.
They
So
were the Mountain West was technically undefeated heading in
exactly
before CSU played. We'll say that way.
Before CSU and Boise State lost. So yeah, but yeah, I just it's all there. I could see it. That would be the easy one. But I'm looking at that North Carolina. I'm looking at Alabama, and I think that's where it could happen when North Carolina goes, and that could be if Alabama still has to play. Don't they play today?
Alabama and Grand
Canyon. So
I did have Grand Canyon in a bracket, by the way, Matt. So that was another upset that I had.
Did you really?
Yeah. Speaking of Mountain West, San Diego State plays Yale. UConn and Northwestern, Alabama, Grand Canyon, Clemson, Baylor. That should be a good one. James Madison, Duke, Purdue, Utah State, and of course CU and Marquette all play today. How about on the women's side, Matt? Number one seed to perhaps fall. And if you're wondering who the number one seeds are, if you don't have your phone bracket and or otherwise in front of you, South Carolina, Texas, Iowa, and USC, all number one seeds.
South Carolina. I'm gonna go with Texas in that scenario.
Yeah, I actually have Gonzaga beating Texas in one women's bracket.
Yeah, in that scenario, I'm gonna go with Texas.
Yeah, this is why I do multiple ones, Matt, because I kind of like to switch off because I do have Gonzaga beating Texas in one. I do have Gonzaga beating Stanford in an Elite Eight game scenario. So I'll go the opposite, Matt. I'll go with USC. I know their star player is a freshman. Speaking of poise and acting like you've been to the tournament before, Matt, Juju Watkins, I watched that USC California Baptist game yesterday. I mean, she doesn't get she doesn't get high, she doesn't get low. She I don't want to say no emotion on her face, Matt, but like she was just acting like she's been there before.
So her and Malaysia Finwali in South Carolina, those are the two that they're freshmen. Those are the two that, especially Juju, because of what she's done already in her freshman year. They're the ones I think that they're the ones that can push what Caitlin's doing right now. Like if you want to say if there's another Caitlin, you look at those two, and especially Juju. Oh my gosh, she's so good. She is so good, and it's just I love watching her play, and everybody's there watching her too. Cheryl Miller was there, and I know it's a March Madness game, so of course they're going to be there. But just the way she plays basketball, Mike, it's just she's one of the I think she's going to be the one to watch for the years to come.
I was going to say a lot of people are already asking the question: can she break Caitlin Clark's record already?
She's capable of it.
Yeah.
She's capable of it. From what you've seen already, if she keeps going on that trajectory, she's capable of it.
And in some brackets, man, I have UConn taking out USC on that Elite Eight round. And don't forget about Paige Buckets, by the way. Paige Becker's over at UConn, man. they took care of business as well, taking down Jackson State. Again, a lot of these lower seeds, Matt, they put all their energy, it seems like, just putting everything they have to begin the game. I mean, do you think it should be an opposite tactic, Matt, where you don't give everything you have to start the game, but maybe make a run at the end? I don't know if you have enough energy at the end, because it seems like these higher seeds, these South Carolinas, Iowas, it seems like they can turn it on whenever they want.
Yeah.
And these 14, 15, 16 seeds are hanging around, and then these higher seeds are just like, all right, let's just put them away now.
You have to play if you're in that position and you're one of those 14, those lower seed, those really low seeds, you have to play a perfect game and hope that the other team plays their worst game.
And let's not forget, sorry to interrupt, but these 1, 2, sometimes 3 seeds, Matt, this has been like yesterday. This is their first game in about 2 weeks.
Yeah. And
again, yep. Sure, you've been practicing, but game situation is different.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great point, and that's what you're looking at too. These lower seeds have been playing competitive playoff tournament basketball for the last month.
Yeah.
They've been trying to get to a position to where they can be in the tournament. So they've been focused. They've been starving. They've been doing everything they can to get into the tournament. So they're locked in. And yeah, you got you can either call them fat cats sitting up there, waiting, not playing any games, because like you said it right there, practicing is one thing, is great, but there is something to getting into a game. And I'm sure those coaches, those higher seeds, Don Staley, Lisa Bluter, Kim Mulkey, they're going to do things to have their girls stay competitive, but there is something to playing those games and going out there and taking your emotional and mental status or your emotional and a mental state to the brink where you're going to be eliminated if you lose. There's something to that. So yeah, but at the same time, the cream is always going to rise to the top, so to speak. So you get in these games and you get in these situations where these lower seeds are playing and they're giving it their all. They're playing their best game. They're playing the perfect game that they played, and they're down by 4, but they're in the game, right? And then yeah, you just look over there, and all one of those players have to do over there is turn it on, and then next thing you know, you're down by 12. So it's one of those things where you have to play your best game and hope they play their worst and worse. It's like you hope that they play their worst, because even still in that situation, they can still pull out an upset win. Like you look at South Carolina in the SEC championship game in their tournament. I think it was a semifinal game. Cardoso made a 3-pointer to win the game, and she never shoots. That was her first 3-pointer of the year.
Yeah.
So they took that for that team to win in that situation. So that's kind of what teams like that are trying to avoid.
Right. And the slate of games coming up today, in order in which they start: Duke, Ohio State, North and South Carolina, CU, Colorado and Kansas State, Middle Tennessee and LSU, Nebraska, Oregon State, Alabama, Texas, Baylor, Virginia Tech, Stanford, and Iowa State. And so the highest seed that is playing today, Matt, is Middle Tennessee at the 11th seed. They're the highest seed left, by the way, in the women's side. At a number 11 seed.
That's impressive.
So over on the men's side, by the way, the highest seed that is playing today, let me pull it back up here, is James Madison and Grand Canyon. Two number 12 seeds. How about this, though, Matt? Yale is a number 13 seed. So they are the highest seed that is still left in the NCAA tournament on the men's side.
Wow.
Who would have thought? A bunch of smart preppies.
And that goes to, again, like, do you think that there's kids transferring?
And by the way, sorry, Princeton took who was it yesterday? Was it Gonzaga?
No, it was
the women's side.
Oh yeah, it was Princeton, because I did pick Princeton to win that game. I picked them to win that game, but they
Was it
lost.
Princeton?
No, they lost. It was
No, I know that,
Princeton
but
and
I'm trying to figure out. Oh, West Virginia. They
yeah,
took
West
West
Virginia.
Virginia. I mean, they lost by 10, but they were in it all game long.
That was a 9-8 seed. Yep.
Yeah.
And I had picked Princeton in that one. So yeah, I mean, yeah, there's just I'm sorry, I'm looking at the second
Oh, I
round
know.
of the women's
And
bracket.
then in that Gonzaga game, by the way, number 13 seed UC Irvine, they were in it all game, Matt, and then they just again faded away. Third quarter, fourth quarter. Look at Florida Gulf Coast, Matt. A lot of people picked them to beat Oklahoma. They only lost by 3 points.
Mm-hmm.
Syracuse beat a number 11 seed Arizona by 5 points. And then you have the Chattanoogas, the Kent States, who weren't really in it. Fairfield really wasn't in it. Jackson State gave UConn a run until again that third quarter rolls around. Matt, I'm assuming you make halftime adjustments.
Yeah,
and then that's where just like guys, we got to. I forgot which team it was, Matt, but they went into the locker room and said, "Do you really want to go out like this?" And then these higher seeds just kick it into gear.
It's that cream rises to the top because like I said, like you usually those teams, it's a team effort or it's one really really good player that's doing all the work or all scoring most of the points or doing most of the offense, and then the other players are just contributing outside of what they usually do. And then you look over on the other side, you got Baylor over there is just going to turn it. They got a couple players that can just turn up the notch a little bit more than what your players can, and the game's over, and it's that quick. But these the games that are the teams that get locked in tournament wise, like they can make a lot of noise. They can make it really tough for those teams that's why I love tournament basketball. This is why I love tournament basketball over any other. And I know you're not going to have a tournament style like you do here in the NFL because it's different. And I just love the aspect of every game and every different day is going to be different, man. You wake up, you walk out there could be something wrong with the way the floor feels, with the way the air in the gym feels or the arena. You know what I mean, Mike? Like the way you're shooting the ball, it could bounce off the rim weird and that could screw you up for the whole day.
Yeah.
And then you got that, and then now that's when you get your number 12s, giving a scare to number 2, because the way that because you got your best player over here can't mess with the rim. It's so funny. There's so many things that just go awry and you have to fight through with these tournaments. So yeah, I've just got caught up in this bracket, man. There's a lot of things going on, like a lot of games, like that Duke Ohio State game. Did you see Nebraska win? The Lady Nebraska,
Yeah.
I think they won the first tournament game for Nebraska in the history of Nebraska or something like that.
That Nebraska team's tough because they played.
They beat Iowa twice, didn't they?
Obviously, they're in the Big Ten, and they gave Iowa a run for their money. I think every game they played them,
and they beat them once, at least once, and they almost beat them in the
and that Ohio State team.
That Ohio State team's good too. So is the Indiana team. That Indiana team's pretty good as well too. So there's a lot of noise that can be made there in that women's bracket.
And like I was talking about Green Bay, I always think of you when I see Green Bay.
Yeah.
But I mean, they were giving Tennessee a run. I picked Green Bay in that matchup, by the way. That was one of the ones that bit me. But they were in it all first half. And then you look, and they almost lost by 30.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just like, what the hell happened? And then, I think a lot of these upper seeds, Matt, they know they can win these first rounds. And I think they do take their foot off the gas to start the game because they know, Matt, they still have 3-4 rounds coming up. So they got to –
right.
And they're playing every other day. So they kind of have to – and then after the first 2 rounds, Matt, they're going to be traveling. So this is – I think a lot of it is preserving energy, not – trying to avoid injury, stuff like that.
Yeah. And yeah. I mean, just Yale beat Auburn 78-76. And Auburn I didn't have them going super far, but I had them making some noise, making them run. Bruce Pearl there, he had them rolling. Like they were, and then Yale beats them.
Yeah, and
that yeah, I
what,
just it's just when you look at these teams, and that's why, yeah, I just, and I had New Mexico. I picked New Mexico in that in the first round. I thought they were going to beat Clemson just because of the way that Mountain State is, or that Mountain West Conference has been, and I felt like New Mexico's been playing. They came out and didn't play very well against Clemson. That
no.
Dayton Nevada game was crazy.
What I like about the tournament, Matt, is you have a bunch of teams, and again, they're probably going to be the lower seeds that you didn't even think about, like Stetson.
Right.
Like, where the hell Stetson? Florida. But where the
That's
hell
where they
is
make the cologne, right?
Yeah, no, that cowboy hats.
Oh, the cowboy hats.
And you know what their team name is? The Hatters, which is
that makes
cool.
sense. That makes sense.
Like, you're just like, where the hell is Holy Cross? Where are they from? Where is you have Oakland? You're like, oh, Oakland, California. You're like, no, it's Oakland, Michigan. You're like, what the hell?
Right.
Oakland, Michigan.
And
it's not even the right Oakland.
Did you see the memes? They were putting them like they were actually from Oakland.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You're just like, Oakland. That's what I mean. Like, you'll never see a California Baptist team, man, on ESPN on a Saturday.
No,
unless it's in the tournament. That's what I like about it, man. Grand Canyon.
Yeah, the only time you see Grand Canyon commercials is like during an ad for, like, I've seen the Grand Canyon commercials.
I thought it was an online school, man. How do they have a 12-seeded basketball?
Well, did you know the University of Phoenix almost made it to the tournament? Did you know that?
That's crazy.
I'm just kidding. They don't have a basketball team.
That's crazy. And
DeVry University, they almost made it.
Yeah, you have. It's crazy because you have Texas A&M, and then you have Texas A&M Corpus Christi. You're like, what? How does that's almost like here in Colorado, Matt. You have CSU Pueblo. Did they almost make it?
Right. And, well, do you remember when you would remember?
Why are they different? I mean, I get aren't they from the same branch? Why do they have different team names?
It's private school. It's state schools. It's all kinds of that
like
mumbo
Duquesne?
jumbo. Yeah,
I know Duquesne's in Ohio, right? Because
we don't know.
LeBron James's friend sent a whole bunch of LeBron shoes to them.
Oh, did he?
I think. But yeah, like where a lot of these teams, you're like, where are these teams coming from? That's what I like about it, Matt. The mixture of teams that you would never see during a regular season on a national TV broadcast. You'll never see them. And then, the NCAA tournament rolls around. You're like, dang, where do these teams come from? This is cool how they're mixed into this.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember when you do the Mountain Dew cap challenge, and if you'd get the cap for the team that made it, and then you can send it in and win or whatever? Mm-hmm. And do you remember when you would pull UNC, but you would look at it and it would say UNC Greensboro? You remember that? Yeah. And you get so pissed off. Like that's what I feel.
Like on Friday, Matt, I was like, Colgate.
Yeah.
Like what? I mean,
toothpaste.
Yeah. What are they? The toothpaste bottles? Like
the toothpaste college.
Again, Stetson. You're just like, where are these teams from? Like, I know Grambling is a kind of a more well known, but you would never see a Charleston, a Longwood, Fairfield, James Madison. I mean, that's kind of a more known name, but yeah, that's what I like about it, man. You got these teams coming out of nowhere. California Baptist, like a lot of these teams, you're just like, this is cool how they're mixed in kind of with these. Again, we throw out the term juggernaut a lot, but how they're mixed in and have the ability to take them down, man. Like you said, kind of these private schools, these I think the higher seeds are more the ones that have the, 4-year players on the same team for 4 years.
Yeah, and you look at those smaller schools with the smaller conference, and the ones that you look at their record, it's like 29-2, 30-4, or 32-1, just some crazy record. And then they come in and they're like a 16 seed or a 12 seed, and and they give these 1 seeds, these big, like we're saying, these blue bloods, the juggernauts, the kids that have the best kids in the country on the team, and they give them their run for their money, or they beat them. And then that goes back again to, there's just so many options to find ballers, to find basketball players out there, and it's, and I wonder if this is going to change any, especially on the men's side, if this is going to change any, because now you can go and play in G League. Now you can go and play in different play. There's different leagues you can go and play in, the rookie leagues or whatever you want to call them.
Well, isn't that why they passed the NIL
Yep.
to keep these
Yep.
keep them
To
trying
keep
to
them
keep
in
them
there.
in school longer?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you can make well. Look at just look. We'll flip to football real quick as an example. I mean, I don't have any basketball examples, but look at football. Shador, there was this big thing coming out recently about Shador being the number 2 pick. Dion said he was going to be the number 2 pick, blah blah blah, and how come he didn't come out, blah blah blah, because he's going to stay in, and he makes more money being in college. He doesn't need to come out. The guy doesn't need to go out. He can stay 1 more year and still make as much money or maybe more. That's where it's at with these guys, a lot of these guys now. And that's football, yeah, but I'm sure there's cases in basketball where you can point to it and be in the same situation, same scenario. But I think that the NIL, Mike, and I want to see how you feel about this, but if you're a school, could you go grab I don't know if you want to, what they call them, boosters, if they, whatever they call them, and say, hey, can you pay this guy a salary for X amount for 4 years so I can keep him here?
They might be able to do that. By the way, forgot to mention too, UAB gave San Diego State a run for their money, only lost by 4 as a 12.
UAB, yeah. So do you see what I'm saying though? It's like, I know Nick Saban was all pissed off about it, and he said it's ruined. I didn't really dig into all that stuff that he got into, but I understand he left because of the NIL and what's going on and what it's become. But when are we going to look at situations where you can be, hey, let's sign this dude to 4 years. Let's sign him to, not only are we giving him a tuition, his tuition's free, blah.
So are you saying like bring contracts into play?
I don't know if you're going to call it a contract. I don't know what you call it, because you're already essentially signing a contract. Because if you're giving him a tuition, I would feel that that's some sort of a contract.
Isn't scholarship a contract?
It's something. That's the way I understood it. It could be, but you can get out of them. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, is there going to be something to where they can make sure that you stay here for 4 years? You're going to get paid, but you stay here for 4 years and you don't leave. Like, are we going to get something like that? To where these coaches, these programs are going to come to him saying, no, I want you to stay here for 4 years,
or
and
maybe
grow.
have a clause in their scholarship saying, when you get a scholarship, you have to be here a minimum of 3 years. You have to be here all 4 years. You can't enter the transfer portal till after 2 years. You can't.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Or if you want to leave early, you got to pay us back X amount of this money. Like, are we going to start getting into that situation? You know how like a sounding bonus? I mean, dude, Mike.
I mean, basically the transfer portal is free agency. So
it's basically free agency. And I would not be shocked if there's some kind of like a deal to where, okay, we'll let this guy walk if you let this guy walk, and we'll kind of send him this. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that they're if there's a way to do that.
It's kind of gearing towards that direction.
That's where we're going. Like, I'm thinking that there's going to be like some kind of a guaranteed contract, but you have to stay here for X amount of seasons, X amount of years. And then they're going to sign like a group of these guys, like a group of 3 or 4, 2 or 3, whatever it is, the big 3. And they sign all 3 of them, and you stay here for 3 to 4 years, and we pay you this much. So there's no, we have to go get paid in the NBA. No, you can stay here, get a college education, and get paid, and win us some basketball games. Like I'm thinking that's where it could go. Like, why wouldn't you do that if you want them? If these guys want to leave to the NBA to go get paid, pay them now. Pay them while they're here. Just go that route. I don't know if I don't even know what the logistics would look like, but to me, that's something that could be, I don't know, maybe could happen.
That's what I mean. It's kind of almost shifting.
It's going that way.
And we'll see what happens when when the NCAA football video game comes out. That's
No,
gonna
I
be
can't
interesting.
wait, Mike. Mike,
I
I
know.
might get divorced when that comes out. I might be divorced. I might be divorced when that comes out.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting. Like kind of where all that money gets filtered to.
Because you're seeing players that are opting in and players that are opting out. Like Arch
Yeah,
Manning's not in it, and he's not going to be in the game.
yeah. It was remember when the '90s NBA's games were out and they didn't have Jordan in them.
Yeah, it was number. What was he
It
like 0 or
was like,
something?
and it was a white dude. You're
It was a
just like,
white. It was
what's
a
going
white
on?
guy, double
And then
zero. Yeah.
like Barry Bonds was never in any of the baseball games.
No, he wasn't. I remember that. That was
Like,
you have to create them yourself.
like, why won't you be in the game? Like, don't you want extra money? But I guess not.
Well, the way I understand Arch is he's saying he wants to be the starter before you can use him in the game as a starter.
I don't know. By the way,
Whatever.
did you see Russ and Nina Westbrook attending the UCLA women's game? By the way, I didn't know that Jaime Jaquez's sister plays for UCLA as well. Gabriela Jaquez
Oh,
is on
really?
that UCLA game. Yeah, she had a pretty good game.
Uh-huh. Nice. Yeah, and did you see Russ was also at the NC State game wearing a Pittsburgh hat?
Of course he was. What is his new catchphrase? Let's go, or here we go.
Here we go.
Yeah,
But Dak Prescott already has that, I thought.
yeah. Just pre-
That dude
he needs a ring before he can come up with catchphrases.
isn't he so isn't now that Russ is gone, Mike, he's kind of lame.
Well, he was cheesy when he was here.
He was always lame here, but you didn't want to say it
Well,
because he was the
I always
quarterback
want
here.
like we always. I mean, again, unless you live in Seattle, I never heard any bad things about Russell Wilson.
I read some things from the players saying that he was kind of a cornball and stuff like that.
Yeah, but
Or he was like
I don't know.
fake. He was fake hood. You know how that you always hear that from about him that he's fake hood or whatever. and that I'm using that term, but there's another term that they use. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The players used. But I just there was I just felt he was. But I thought him coming like getting a new, fresh place of work would be better for him, but I guess not. I don't know.
Yeah, will Mike Tomlin allow him to have an office? That's the bigger question.
And like
His team 3 coming in.
is team 3 going to be there? That's the biggest thing. Is team 3 going to be allowed in the building?
All right, before we get out of here, one more story. Well, actually, 2 more stories. Did you see Kim Malkin
Yes.
basically threatened the Washington Post? That was crazy.
And that was crazy. I don't know. So what's your take on that? So real quick, mine is did you notice the if you look at especially on X, there's a certain type of people that are going at her and saying it's ridiculous, and all of those people are journalists, right? They're quote unquote journalists, and they're always they're going at Kim or whatever. Then you look at the ones that are supporting her, they're players, they're former players, they're current players, and they're not in the media necessarily. So it's really funny to see how who's coming up, who's going against her, and then who's stepping up for her in this situation.
Yeah. Also, another kind of controversial news topic, Matt. Shohei Ohtani's interpreter, and Shohei Ohtani now under investigation. Apparently, his interpreter was like skimming money off the top, Matt. But now there may be gambling involved, and so I mean, if there's gambling involved, you may see Shohei Ohtani get Pete Rosed here pretty quick.
Wow. Like, could he claim? I didn't know. Was that not right? Could he claim that? Like, he's been in the country long enough to understand that you're not supposed to gamble on the game that you play in, right?
Yeah, it's a whole. It is a weird.
Is that?
And the Dodgers fired his interpreter, so I don't know.
But you can't.
They're calling it the Shohei scandal. I don't know.
Yeah, I bet you they're going to claim ignorance on this. How much you want to bet? And they blame everything on the interpreter, which they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, it says Dodgers fire Shohei Ohtani's interpreter, skimming money off the top. It's a whole wild, weird story. I
hope it ruins a Dodgers season. That's the only way it can do it without, because you don't want to wish injury on anybody. So other than a real guy like that dude getting hurt, this would be great. This would be great to ruin that Dodgers season. You know, Mike, I'm starting to get geared up for baseball. I've been paying attention to the Rockies. I am kind of getting locked in. I know Nolan got hurt a little bit yesterday, but I'm getting ready. I don't know what I'm getting ready for, though, Mike.
All I know is I'm going to Arizona this week for the
opener, right?
week. Yeah,
That's
Rockies,
right.
Diamondbacks.
That'll be fun. But I'm getting excited. I'm getting excited. I'm going to attend baseball games this year, and I'm going to be a good fan. I'm just going to have no expectations. I'm going to just go out there, and each game is going to be a new, different game for me. That's how I'm going to be a baseball fan this year. That's how I'm going to be a Rockies fan. Because I love baseball, man.
Yeah,
and I want to root. I want to watch it.
Even though I'm traveling to watch baseball, I haven't even thought of it. It's still basketball mode.
I'm still in I'm still in basketball mode.
Maybe I think it hits me when I get the MLB The Show, the video game.
There you go. You need that to get you locked in.
I'm still playing last year's, man. I think I'm in 2032 of my career.
Oh, finally you did send me some pictures of that. Yeah, that's funny.
Finally won a World Series with the White Sox in 2032.
Congratulations.
I'm a 9-time MVP, 9-time Cy Young Award winner. I have over 4,000 strikeouts. So we're doing well.
Oh, that's funny.
Doing well.
That's good to hear.
But yeah, I don't know if it hits me until I get that video game.
I'm ready. I'm kind of ready to go. I'm ready to go.
There you go.
So
yeah, but that Shohei, I guess, scandal will be.
It'll be something to keep. It'll be something to, yeah, for sure.
And like you said, I hope it ruins the Dodgers season.
Just ruin it, baby.
Just go off the rails with it.
Off the rails.
There you go. Well, that's going to do it for us here on the Wheelhouse Elevation 5280 Sports and Lifestyle. Don't forget to go all of our socials. Follow us on X at 5280 Sports Radio, at Matt Mescreen is one. Follow us on our Facebook page as well, and our YouTube channel at 5280 Sports Radio. You can always leave a comment anywhere. Go to our home base, e5280sports.com. Everything is up on there as well. And once again, this and all podcasts brought to you by Pikes Peak Sports Cards. So if you're local to Colorado, go check them out in Colorado Springs. If not, check them out online. They can have your diamond in the rough shipped to you as well. Any final thoughts, Matt, before you're late? You might be late to getting donuts.
My boys are upstairs. Dad, we want donuts. Enjoyed the games today, whether you're watching the men's bracket, the women's. Try to watch all of them because there's great basketball out there today. Tremendous basketball.
All right. That is once again going to do it for us here on the Wheelhouse. Don't forget, go to e5280sports.com. Check out all the other shows, podcasts, blogs, and such like that. So thank you for tuning in as always. For Matt Mascarenas, I am Michael Spillman. We will talk to you next week.